Hello there, and welcome to the Commuter. What is the Commuter Review? The Commuter Review is very simply, I commute to work over quite a long distance every day, and have decided to compile a list of games that I think are fantastic for playing while on a commute. Well, I'm going to review games that I think are good for a commute, and then tell you how good they are for commuting, if that makes sense. Because obviously things like, say, Resident Evil, for example, might be a little bit awkward to play on a commute when you need to pay attention to getting off on stops, yada 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 yada. So, anyway, what is this? This is a delightful little game that is essentially reverse Tetris, which is quite amusing. You play against CPU. I can imagine it's much better to play against a friend, but playing against the CPU is pretty good, especially when you put it on the harder mode. It actually does present quite a challenge. So, what is this? Overall, basically you are just playing reverse Tetris, which is you're building these lines like you do in Tetris, except they don't go away. This stabilizes your building, and by stabilizing your building, you can build higher and higher and higher. At the start of the match, you were dropped off by a hot air balloon, and you're trying to build your way back up to it in the sky to get back onto your hot air balloon before your rival does. Now, there are a range of random little power-ups. The best ones are easily the bomb and the cement. The bomb you can throw across the screen and it'll blow apart the guy's structure, and the cement one will fill in areas where you need to fill in with some blocks. Now, you can't just pile blocks straight up into the sky and get there straight away. No, because as you can see at the bottom, there is a little gauge that is green, orange, and red. That green, orange, and red gauge dictates how stable your structure is. Now, if your structure becomes far too unstable, well, congratulations, it will start to completely fall apart and fall down, which means you will end up in a position where you end up back down at the bottom instead of at the top where you're trying to go. So you have to try and make as many lines as possible to keep that structure stable. The more lines you have, the more stable it is. The more gaps you have in your lines, the more unstable it becomes, and then you will fall all the way back down. There are some environmental traps, like sometimes a little fish will come up and bite your ass and knock you back down, and then for some reason a whale seems to just put you back up. No idea why it's a whale. Guess whales like eggs. But yeah, I'm going to keep this brief, simple, short. This is fast, fun, and simple, and you don't need to pay a shit ton of attention. So on a commute, you can still pay attention to your stops and know where you need to get off and carry on your day, and you can pause the game at any point and pick it back up, and it's still really good because, it's exceptionally simple. So as a game overall, I'd probably rate this like a 6 out of 10, because, it's fine, there's nothing wrong with it. It works totally fine, and its animations are nice, simple, cute. Keep in mind this is also on the Game Boy Advanced, so yeah, don't be expecting extremely amazing graphics, which I think, frankly, for the console that it's on, it's doing an absolutely fantastic job. But yeah, the point I'm trying to put across here is for the commute review. So, that particular review, I would actually score this just a little bit higher and give it a 7 out of 10. It's just quick, simple, fun that doesn't require a shit ton of attention or too much thinking overall, but provides some good quality fun with an okay challenge, especially for being sat on a metro or a bus. And that will about wrap it up. I know this particular video is probably terrible. I'll try and improve these in the future, but right now this gameplay is took from me quite literally sat on the metro right now, as that's how I'm going to review these games, actually play them in commute, so I know if it's good during a commute or not. Maybe I'll start trying to put some footage in here of me on the actual commute, like bits where I get interrupted in the game or something, and be like, oh look how easy it is to go back and play the game again. I'll expand on this, work on it, and yeah, you get the general idea. But if you're interested in the idea of compiling a nice little list of games that will be good for commutes or airplane travel, all that kind of stuff where you're just stuck doing basically diddly squat and you've got to get from A to B while still paying some form of relative attention, that's the idea behind this, because I don't really see anything like that on YouTube, and I think it could be useful. It's probably not going to be big, but it could be useful. Especially in the day and age now where most people on a commute, they usually just use mobile phone games, and most of those are pretty trashy autoplay games that are just like, hey, get the cute gotcha girl on a card, and now watch the chibi versions of them auto fight. Oh yay! Like that's gotta get boring real fast. So I want to compile a nice little list of stuff that you can emulate very easily on any mobile phone, and I'll share my setup and stuff like that with you later, and maybe that's something that you can look at doing to make your own commutes a little less tedious. Anyway, subscribe, like, do a backflip, jump out of a window. In fact, no, don't jump out of a window, that's a terrible idea. Anyway, yeah, bye bye.